Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for round three of the event of 24 races. My name is Jamie Morris, commentator for you for SFR for this 18-minute qualifying session and the 25-lap race we have ahead of us. And next to me is Manso, who finished on the podium yesterday, so he's got plenty of information and happiness to store with us.
Yep, hello all, I'm back again. Obviously we had a week off last week because of the football. But yeah, like you said, I got a podium yesterday. So yeah, in a good mood. But only downgrade is that I don't think people should be on my strategy, to be fair. It wasn't brilliant, mainly being because of the tyre wear. But you know, these are Division 1, they know what to do. Our fastest guy is in SFR, so yeah, let's see what these guys can do today.
It was an interesting race back at the Bahrain International Circuit Grand Prix. It was Harry Kane, who is not here tonight as he's on holiday with the other Norwegian drivers in this lobby. But it was Harry Kane who won ahead of Hazara, who struggled towards the second stint on his final stint on the medium compound tyres. He never got it hooked up together, did Hazara. Was sliding all over left, right, centre, and Harry Kane took the victory on the last lap as well, or be on penalties because Hazara did win on the track, but Harry Kane ultimately won with no penalties. And Laser took his first podium of the season too. After a long drought in podiums, he finally did it, with Glock finishing in P4, who started on the soft compound tyres, so ultimately had to suffer towards the end of the Grand Prix, but in all the tyres, and therefore his rivals around will gain the advantage. But he did lose too many places on the race. I expected him to lose more, but he still made it work, with Ramovac who finished right behind him too. So we'll see what happens here at the Jeddah circuit, the Jeddah Corniche circuit, which was introduced back in 2020, but obviously COVID was around then, so we couldn't really properly introduce. But 2021, as you can see, Smoke FX really lights up the rear tyres there on the exit, but he is on the medium compound tyre, the mid-range tyre, not the qualifying tyre, so that's why he doesn't have the best grip and the purchase on those medium compound tyres. He's coming down into turn one. We've seen plenty of overtakes into 1 and 2, as you have the DRS on the main straight and the back straight too, and that's when you see plenty of battles going down into turn 1 and turn 2. We saw some people quite low the brakes going around the outside into 1 and 2. I believe you did it yourself, man, so going around the outside a few people into 1.
Yeah, like I said, I expect a lot of battles today. As from my experience from yesterday's race, it's very difficult to break that 1 second from the DRS, of course. But yeah, whatever you do, it is very, very difficult to break that 1 second. Obviously, unless you have the tyre wear advantage, it's just impossible at this track to break that DRS. But yeah, so I'm expecting a lot of battles today, and again, very close for the victory. I'm sure it will be for today's race.
And Dan has joined the session, so 16 driver will take place here in Jeddah. Didn't have really the best of races after coming from a high in Silverstone. Was down from last week when he finished, I think, in a P6, but he wasn't at the podium. But due to that 10-second time penalty, which was really costly towards the end, as it chucked him off the podium and further down the field than he expected. So can he continue this great pace here in Jeddah? But it is a Div 1 driver, so the difficulty level will be quite higher. But the first driver across the line of Smoke is a 29.9, but expect the times to tumble down.
Yeah, obviously Smoke's on the mediums, he's getting that bank lap time, and MCFC is the next car to cross the line now. He's just going to come, well, obviously Smoke's teammate today as well, MCFC, obviously Oliver not here today, I think he is on holiday. So MCFC is taking his seat today. MCFC on the soft compound tyres. He goes P2. Obviously, he is a Division 2 driver, so he's about a second down from Smoke. But then there you go, Sonic Hawk, the 29.6, of course, on those soft tyres. Also a reserve today from Division 2.
Indeed, as well. He finished inside the top 10, while his teammate in the other RB took the victory. His first win since 3 years ago, his first podium for a long time too, so it was very nice to see that energy that Martin was back up there. Former Div 1 driver himself, of course, did well in the first half of the season, but the second half he did slip away and struggled to finish inside the top 10. That's how difficult it was towards the near end, as everybody else got competitive and a little bit better too. But Langfell and Atlas Copo goes towards the top at 29.5, and Langfell is making his way towards the line now. I know these two are in a party, just pips him to pole by about a few hundreds as well, by 1600ths of a second. Yeah. These two in a party together because I communicated with them, and Glock goes quickest.
Yeah, 28.2 there from Glock. I had a look at last season's fastest lap in qualifying from last season, season 15. I think it was around about a 26.2. So you could tell they've downgraded the speed quite a bit on this game. Obviously, taking that lap was Harry Kane. Harry Kane not with us today, so we'll get a different winner this season than we did last season.
Yes, Harry Kane did win back in Saudi Arabia ahead of Hazara by 4 seconds. MDJ was the third ahead of Berimi. Berimi is also one of those drivers who's not here. Same with Dragon as well and Yagamal. Those a 6 week race, which most of us Brits can't do because it's very expensive to go on holiday sometimes. But here comes Norris around the final corner. He was challenging for his first podium last season. He just slipped away in the final stages due to penalties or people on better tyres, and he goes into P2. So that's quite a margin between Glock and Norris there. Glock sitting pretty in P1, got a big gap by about 8 tenths as well. So it looks like people are struggling to try and match his time.
Yeah, nearly 9 tenths there between Glock and Norder. So really good starting lap for Glock there. Glock there. I think he's already beaten the Division 2 fastest lap. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, he's already beaten that. Laser, obviously Glock's teammate, is also on a lap. He's just coming up towards the middle of Sector 2 now. Obviously just about to open that first DRS straight. Obviously it's a very short one, but obviously with this straight, it lines you up to get the move done for the second DRS straight, and obviously then the third DRS straight is where most of the moves do get done. So Laser coming up towards the final corner now. Obviously this is where back in 21 when Verstappen and Hamilton had that accident. Neither of them wanted to overtake each other. But here's Laser now, open that DRS for the final time now, and just enough used all of his deployment, and he's literally just right behind his teammate again with the 28.2, so 300ths of a second behind his teammate. So at the moment it's McLaren 1-2.
McLaren 1-2 it is. Still waiting for that McLaren 1-2 since I think Monza 2021 where Ricciardo came over to finish it first ahead of Norris, and McLaren have been up there, but the second driver Oscar Piastri hasn't been there just yet, but his pace has started to show it, so it's quite interesting to see what Oscar Piastri in the second McLaren can do, because his pace is really strong. As Adams then, he's finished the podium twice this season in Division 2. Back in Bahrain and Silverstone, he flirted with the walls on the exit. They got ever so close. I'm not quite sure if he did just tap it, but if he did, gets away with it. You can scrape your tyre against the wall, no further damage done. But if it's a front wing, it will be very costly indeed. As a trip to the pits is necessary because you need the downforce around this circuit, especially in the first sector, as he makes his way through turn 20 and turn 21, where things changed in the 2021 Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, as Mick Schumacher crashed heavily into the wall, which brought out a safety car. Then a few moments later, a red flag. So a lot of controversy happened in that race with the inconsistency of the FIA and the rules. Nothing to do with the drivers, of course. It's all down to the stewards of the FIA. But here comes Adams across the line, goes into P9 inside the top 10. And then DJ, who won his last race, his final race this season, in Las Vegas, an unexpected victory after a spin in a sprint race, but came back to finish in first place in Las Vegas, and that was his final race of the season, as Silverstone he couldn't turn up due to personal reasons. But it's nice to see MDJ, a contender for the championship last season and the season before, a regular driver around here as well, who quit league racing unfortunately, as the game unfortunately is not suited to his style, and it is a waste of money if you are not committed to it, because it can be quite difficult to handle it.
Yeah, it can be. I think it was F123. Obviously, like I said in an interview last night, F122 wasn't great at handling. So again, I kind of quit league racing for a bit because I weren't happy with the 22 game. And then obviously when 23 came out, I actually didn't buy the game straight away. I decided to wait until I get some reviews of the game, and it seemed like people were very happy with the game. So that's when I got the game and got back into league racing again, which since then I've really enjoyed it.
I've not league raced once yet on this game. If it was like 2-3 years ago, even last year, I would have been on the game straight away and league racing. But my motivation for racing has disappeared altogether now. And now I'm just a full-time commentator. I say unfortunately, but I do enjoy commentating more than the racing. It is something I've been doing for 5 years as well. Well, maybe 6 now. It's been quite a while since I've commentated, ever since I was very young as well. So my voice and my progress has changed throughout the years. But during those moments about MDJ we were talking about, Ramovaj is the first man in the 27s. We thought Glock and Laser's time were blistering,
Yeah.
but Ramovaj is just snuck inside the 27s.
Yeah, Brabbit right behind him there as well with the 28-0. And like you said, Ramavaj the third person to get into the 27s this week. His teammate, Rogue Smithy, is about to come to the final corner now.
I'm sorry to interrupt there, but Glock had a big moment out of turn 14 and 15. I think he lost the back of the car and he he hit the wall, unfortunately, but survived. He's lost his end plate. He was pushing on his lap. But Rogue Smithy in P6 has set the exact same lap time as Nordis. Owen.
Oh, nice. Very nice. That's what we like. Very close qualifying so far. One thing to mention as well, obviously you saw that front wing flying off Glock's car. Division 1 is actually running simulation damage. So that's an interesting fact, whereas I think Division 2 and Division 3 is on regular or something like that. But so Division 1 is the only division to race simulation damage. So again, you've got to be careful around this track because obviously the walls are so close together. But you want to be as close as you can to the walls to get an excellent lap round here in qualifying.
Exactly, as well. I forgot to mention that. I did see it last week where people were disagreeing. I disagree as a driver, of course, because simulation damage, it can do a lot of damage as well. It's not always accurate as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the drivers manage it, but it means that the drivers will be more cautious in terms of how they attack the other drivers and also be more wary of the surroundings around them, such as these walls here in Saudi Arabia. They come at you thick and fast, so you've got to be really careful. Not only track limits around here, which Hazara and Melners invalidated on their previous laps, but also the walls around here too. So extra elements spice things in for a good race, and we'll see if these drivers then take it with more caution. Laser, unfortunately, messes up the first sector going into turn 4 and turn 5. He lost the back of the car into turn 4, which compromises entry into 5. And once again,
yeah,
that's invalidated for sure. Right, let's see who else is on the circuit. And Sonic Hawk has just popped himself into P6 there. We've got Nordis and Smithy, who have set the exact same lap time. Atlas Copo is making his way towards the line now. His best time is a 29.5.
Spray and Pray has just started his first lap of the day as well. He's right down, obviously, in P16, and he only won not to set a lap time yet.
We'll see how he's doing there. Oh, that was... He took too much curve on the inside, and therefore the car was unstable and unsettled, which caused him to lose the back end of the car. So that lap time, unfortunately, is ruined. There's only 4 minutes left, Owen. This qualifying has gone very quick.
Yeah, very quick. Obviously, as you can see, a lot of people...
I think you just muted yourself, Owen. I don't know if you liked or not, but it looked like you were talking and you stopped all of a sudden.
All right. Anyway, we're back. So Spray and Pray come through the final corner, his first lap of the day, and he's going to call it quits there. I think it's too close for him to do 2 laps, so he decided to come in. I'm guessing he didn't think that was a brilliant lap, so he's come in to set another lap. Obviously, he's still got another 4 minutes, so he's still got plenty of time. But as you can see, everyone is now in the pits, getting ready for the most important lap of the day, the final lap. Trying to make improvements on their current lap. I think Nordis will be the first one to get his first lap in. I think Ray Smithy, though, he is on the lap already, and he goes up to P6 with a 28.6. And Atlas Copo has, I think he's coming into the pits as well because he's not improving.
A regular top 5 finisher. Nordis last season was so close to a podium. Remember the Japanese Grand Prix when he was close, but unfortunately picked up that 3-second time penalty. And unfortunately for him in China as well, I think Ramovaj pitted onto the better tyres towards the end, and he caught him up and overtook him as well. So Nordis has been there in terms of podium contentions. I think he'll definitely pick one up this season. Well, Nordis, he's got the pace to show. He's currently in P8 so far, but we know he can improve with only 3 minutes left to go. He came out early because he might have fueled the car up for over, well, maybe 2 or 3 laps, because if you come out early, that means you have the time to do those extra laps. Just in case you validate your first lap, you've always got the second lap in hand, whereas other people like to stay in the pit lane until about 2 minutes and get out there and have the 1 lap only. People like me who like to go out quite early just in case I validate my first lap, because it's always the case.
The problem with coming out early, as you can see now on the map, everyone has now started to come out to obviously start their lap, whereas Noldus has just started his lap now. He might get a bit of traffic here, which might cause him a bit of problems unless everyone behaves as they should. Noldus, a bit wide there on turn 2. Obviously, he's coming up to turn 3 now, but you don't really want to catch up to these, the traffic, as it might upset his lap.
High speed, fast speed corners there as we flick our way into this double hander. You can see the movement from the car as he touched too much curve there. More curbing used as you really want to use the curves, but at the same time be careful as well because they can really upset the balance of the car. Already he's a 10th up in the first sector as we flick our way into turn 13. Let the car roll in, then get back on the floor once the car is straightened up, and you know you can get power on with traction. You didn't really use the outside wall there as you want to try and maximise all the track. We flick our way into turn 14 and 15. Flirting with the barriers on the outside, might pick up a distant tow from the car ahead of us, which is a Haas.
I think that's his teammate. Oh, I thought it was his teammate, sorry.
It's the Haas in front of us, so hopefully he gets out of the way as Norris at 4/10 up in the middle sector, so that he's on a flying lap. Is Norris? He might put him into P6. Let's see if he does. He might pick up a tow from the RB just ahead of us, who's preparing for his final flying lap. But Norris now making his way towards the final corner. We've seen people mess up here as well. Lando Norris was one of them. Like that, he hit the inside wall, but his suspension was broken on that occasion. Max Verstappen on the outside wall. As here comes Norris across the line now. Where's he going to place that Merc? Only P7 for him.
Yeah, so only one improvement there. One position of improvement there. So that's P7 maximum there for Noldus there.
Right, so we've got more people. Oh, Hazara, a big snap on the exit into turn 10 there. Might cost him a bit of time, which it has. He's a few hundreds down in the first sector, but only a few hundreds then. So not too much, but it has made a big difference. So let's see if he can find time in the middle and last sector. Majority of drivers out there on a flying lap. We've got 30 seconds left to go in the session while Hazara goes out wide and he misses the apex, but he does not invalidate, crucially.
Yeah, he doesn't want to invalidate now. It's the most important lap of the day. Obviously, he's in P5 at the moment, which is pretty good at the moment. I think he's backed off. Yeah, he is backed off. Hazard. Oh no, I think it's just lag.
He has backed off. He's 4/10 down in the middle sector as Laser goes into P3 just ahead of his McLaren teammate of Glock. Glock is still out there on a flying lap then, so majority of drivers out there. Brabbitt, who is a 10th up in the middle sector, could he be challenging for pole? Smoke FX goes into P6. We know the Haasers are quite strong in qualifying, proved to be, as Smoke was in the Haas last season, now transferred over to the main team in Ferrari. A bit of a snap there from Brabbitt there, so let's see if it hindered him coming out the final corner onto the straight. Is Brabbitt going to take pole? And he is, with a 27.8. Brabbitt is on pole ahead of Ramavaj, but Ramavaj is on a lap time. He's 1/10 up in the first sector, now headed towards the intermediate split. He's a huge 2/10 up in that middle sector. Spray and pray goes into P8 ahead of Noldus there with a 28.8, and he's a few hundreds quicker than Noldus in P9. Glock, who crossed the line to stay in P4, so fortunately for him, he could not improve. And here comes Ramavaj round in the final corner. He scored a lot of podiums last season and also took a few wins. And he's backed off, has he? I think he's run out of fuel. He's run out of fuel, hasn't he? Surely. I thought he backed off. It looked like he was going slow down there.
He might have, yeah, because he didn't even get P1, so he might have just run out of fuel right at the end there. So somehow he's lost all that time in sector 3, unless it's because of the RS deployment. Maybe I'm not sure.
It looked like he wasn't on full pelt on that straight there. It looked like he was losing fuel slowly. Alas Copo 6/10 up, but unfortunately has invalidated in somewhere in that first or middle sector, so he will not improve on his lap times. Adam in P14. Let's see what he's doing. Unfortunately for him, in the Mercedes, in a validates too. I think he started P14 back at the Bahrain Grand Prix, and he finished on P3 on that occasion too. So qualifying has came to a close, and Brabbitt, who I introduced to this league, a good friend I've known for years, and I'm very happy he's in this league, is in P1 with a 27.8. The German in the Sauber, like Nico Hulkenberg will be next season, is in P1 and a 10th ahead of Ramavaj, who might have took pole for sure, but unfortunately might have run out of fuel towards the end.
Yeah. So only two people in the 27s, obviously Ramavaj and Brabbitt. Ramavaj getting obviously the first person getting to 27s. Top four really close, about 3/10 separate them four, and then you got 25 from Hazara, so about 3/10 off Laser No, it was a Glock. Yeah, Glock. Sorry, MP4.
There are your classifications. Confirmation that Brabham is on pole, almost a tenth quicker than Ramavaju P2 McLaren, separated barely anything, so those two are quite close. Glazer ahead of Glock, ahead of the Norwegian of Hazara, and that's a big gap from P5 downwards. Not the gaps we're used to seeing here in SFR, but the game might not be under people's strengths yet, so we'll see how it plays out in the race. Good qualifying from the Hasboy Spray and Pray. Smoke Effects, another strong qualifying in P6 ahead of Rogue Smithy in the Williams. Sonic Hawk in the RB in 9th place ahead of Nordis, who's a second off as well. Oh, Brabham. Munners in 11th ahead of Atlas Cooper, Langfell, Adams, Energy Dan, and MCFC, who is in P16.
Yep. Now on to the main event. Obviously, the race. So obviously these guys second time in action. No British Grand Prix, of course, like we said. So this is round 2. Again, strategy. Looking at what happened to me yesterday, it's got to be a medium hard mediums, something like that. Even soft, maybe even soft hards. But yeah, we'll see what these guys will choose. High risk of safety cars. I don't think we've had a safety car yet in SFR this season, but obviously with the wars being so close, there is a higher chance of a safety car again because of the simulation damage that they're running. So like you said, Jamie, earlier on, we've got to be more careful and more cautious.
We'll see what happens in this 25-lap race. Brabham, who started on the soft compound tyres last week, same with Glock, and it didn't pay off for them in the end as they fell backwards, especially Brabham too, who was up there in the top 5 but fell backwards. And let's see if he chooses the right strategy this time. I don't ever like to start on the soft compound tyres, no matter what track it is. The soft compound tyres for me at the start is not the way to go. Usually I save it towards the end just in case there's a late safety car, or if it's a track with not much deck, I might take the soft compound tyres, or of course if a safety car comes out or the rain changes. But the soft compound tyres, not the favourable tyres at the start of the Grand Prix. Heavy fuel as well, and the softs can overheat really quickly, and they're malleable, and it's very easy to heat up as well as there's less tread on the tyres. So that's why in the high speed corners you'll see them sliding around, and in the breakers zones too, they don't last that long with the hard compound tyres. More so more surface area and the more durable tyres, of course, the more preferred tyres to start on during a Grand Prix, and we'll definitely see the hard runners in the action then. We'll see if Glock changes his strategy too, because both McLaren split strategies back in Bahrain. But what I noticed about last season, where people got caught out by being on the same tyres at the start just because of a safety car or whatnot, because the safety car came at the right time for the pit stops for the people on the same tyres, and therefore they fell backwards due to that double stack. But anyways, we'll see what tyres the people have gone for. And mediums for Brabham, hards for the rest except Spray and Pray, Atlas Copo, Langfell and Energy Dan, who is the only one on them soft compound tyres. But essentially down there, P15 got nothing to lose, so might as well take the soft compound tyres and try and gain as many places as you can.
Yeah, like you said, he's down in P15. Again, he is a reserve for today, so he hasn't really got anything to lose as long as he doesn't upset a full-time Division 1 driver who's actually racing. I know he still wants to race as well, but like I say, he's got nothing to lose, so he can basically do whatever he wants. But interesting fact with the softs with Dan, he will start to lose confidence and grip in the tyres at around, I think it was around lap 6, that you will start to struggle a bit, as you know from yesterday's race, Jamie.
Yeah, you did struggle a bit as well, but someone around you pitted 1 lap later, considering they were on the hard compound tyres. I think it was Mad G who stood out 1 lap later on them hards and pitted towards the medium. So essentially, you were both on the same tyres towards the end, only 1 lap difference.
Yeah, I think it was something to do with him trying to cover me or trying to make sure he doesn't lose me out of sight, something along those lines anyway. So obviously because he saw me pitted, he was like, right, he's pitted, then I don't want to lose the DRS off of him, or I want to try and jump him, so that I think that's why he pitted a lap later. But yeah, like I said, the DRS around here is very powerful, so I expect a lot of battles here today.
Same here as well, especially going down into turn one. We've seen plenty of it in Division 3 with Probelli and Ellie. And Probelli was the one who came out on victory ahead of Ellie. And it's a second win in a row for the Norwegian driver. So let's see if he can keep it up in OWR and Division 2. It was a great race too, with Martin winning the Grand Prix. But who will win here for the second race of the season? The British GP last week got cancelled due to the match between England versus the Netherlands, and we all know who came out on top there. I'm not going to mention Sunday because I know we're both English, but here we are then. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, and not the best camera once again, so they need to sort this out. But anyways, we are underway for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Brabham should ideally have a good start already, which he has done. Now Ramavach has to watch out, but here he is on the brakes there. He locks the rear tyres up and still keeps on the circuit. Both McLarens squabbling for P3 and P4. The Aston Martin Havazara gets a decent exit at turn 3, but he's not alongside him. And here we go with the Haas Ferrari Mercedes there, trying to scrap it out for P7. Spray and pray, trying to go around the outside ahead of Norris. He's got himself. Oh, there's an RB in the background, and there's an RB making contact.
Yes, massive contact there. I don't know what's happened. I think that's Miles who's got involved there. He's got damage. I think Dan has also got damage. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know that yes, Dan has got damage. Miles got damage. Maybe the Ferrari of MCSC as well. Yes, MCSC's got damage. So that's 3 cars there that's got front wing damage from that. I don't know what happened. Someone went one. I think it was the Miles went wide somewhere. So that's at least 3 cars with damage earlier on here.
I saw an RB lose the back end of the car, and the other RB tapped the back of him. So I think it was Sonic Hawk who lost the back end of the car, and unfortunately Mona's wrong place at the wrong time just hits the back of him, and it led to a Constantino effect. And MCFC gets ahead of Melners with a damaged wing, of course. Energy Dan has made up 3 places, but a trip to the pits might be necessary as you will struggle around here with a lack of a front wing as we head down towards turn 27. So Brabham has got a good start ahead of Ramavac. Atlas Copo is ahead of Sonic Hawk, and here we are down into turn 27 where we saw Ginger Tiger make contact to the back of the RB, and he spun himself out at turn 27, which led to his unfortunate in the race. But I think the RB is coming back at him, which he is. DRS is enabled though as we head down towards turn number 1. The RB holding the inside line of Sonic Hawk and gets ahead of Atlas Copo. Obviously these two in Div 2 so far this season, and one of them's had a really strong race, which was Sonic Hawk a few races ago in Bahrain and in Silverstone too, and he did struggle just a bit here. So did Atlas Copo in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, but so far here in Div 1 they're doing a great job. But however, for the medium runner in P1, Brabham, he has not pulled the gap, and Ramavac is still sticking within his DRS window.
I was about to say, Ramavac and Brabham has already pulled a 2-second gap from the rest of the grid. Ramavac's doing a good job at the moment, keeping with Brabham, and that is important that he was staying with him for a lap and a half to make sure he gets the DRS. Now he's got the DRS. Now I'm expecting these two to keep swapping positions every lap, like you saw between me, Cassidy, and Martin in yesterday's race. Obviously, I'm not expecting Ramavac to get the move done down to the final corner. I think most of the moves would be done down towards turn 1.
He's in a tricky situation. Brabham is hard to pull away, especially when you have 3 DRS zones as well. So, the RB's just hit the wall at turn 21. That's the RB of, I think, Sonic Hawk, who just smacked into the wall there. And Rogue Smithy has left the session, unfortunately, due to lag. So, Rogue Spray and Pray gets ahead. And both McLarens then swapping places for P3 and P4. Glock didn't make the podium yesterday's last 2 weeks ago, a fortnight ago, but he wants a podium here in Saudi Arabia. They're both on the same tyres, of course, so no split strategy between the McLaren boys, and they've got Hazara as well, lurking in the wings, who finished in P2, runner-up at the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Yeah, so already team orders there between Glock and Laser. Laser just not able to keep up with Ramavac and Brabham. Ramavac did not make a move at all on Brabham, so I think Ramavac is just staying with Brabham. So I think he knows Brabham is on the quicker tyre at this stage of the race. So all he wants to do is just get a good enough gap between himself and Glock before these two start to battle. Because obviously when you start to battle, you're going to start losing time. So this is a good strategy call so far by Ramavac.
Ramavac, he had great pace as well back in the Bahrain Grand Prix, but he had a spin at the exit of the final corner. It was a very weird spin. Oh, Modus is retired. Is that our first safety car of the season? No, it's a virtual safety car.
Virtual.
So that will slow things down, then reduce the speed and we could get racing once again. The pack will not be built up under the VSC because there's no safety car. There's no car there to bunch them all up, so they have to reduce their speed by about 40%. Is that correct? Increase their speed?
I
Increase their
think
time speed.
it's 40 or 60%. I think it is 40. I think you're right there. I think Maunus, he lost it at the exit of turn 3, so I reckon took too much curb, spun, and obviously just hit the wall, and that's the first retirement of the day. Obviously, like I said, simulation damage. So one mistake like that could be race ended just for Maunus there.
For the RB driver who struggled in qualifying too, so not really been a great race, but hopefully he comes back stronger in Hungary and we can see what he could do. So the virtual safety car period then will be ending quite shortly. It doesn't really last for a long time, the virtual safety car in the F1 game, unlike in real life where it can last quite a while. If there's a bit of debris in the track, it's not really necessary to call out a safety car. But in all honesty, Owen, I don't really like the VSC. I prefer it to be either a safety car or a double yellow flag to slow things down, not a VSC. That's always been my opinion. I'll stick by that. I think I've said it before in the past few years where I prefer a full safety car or double yellow flag. I like the pack bunched up, if that makes sense. I think you're muted yourself, Owen, if you are talking.
Sorry, I was talking and I forgot I'd mute myself. But like I was saying, the only advantage of the VSC in this game is that obviously getting an early pit stop, obviously it was too early, and also getting your ERS back and recharged again. Those are really the only advantages of VSC really in this game.
The VSC has held Rogue Smithy to a certain degree because he hasn't lost too much time, and also he is back in a session as both McLarens once again squabble for P3 and P4, try and keep the Aston Martin out of a threat for an overtake. These two McLaren boys could swap places and try and keep Hazara at bay. We saw this with the Aston Martin boys, with Mansell and Casti trying to keep who was it on the podium with you guys? But here we are then, both McLarens in a battle. Here comes Hazara as we head down towards turn 1. Can Hazara get Glock on the inside? Let's find out now as Glock later on the brakes. He stays ahead but goes a bit deep. Hazara gets a better exit and the Haas too. And here they go side by side at turn 3 going into turn 4. Who's going to yield? You can't go side by side through here. Proven to be by Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen when they made contact there in 2021 of course. But I was about to mention that you and your teammate helped each other because you tried to get somebody off the podium on yesterday, even though it was yesterday. I can't remember.
As Glock nearly lost it there. Got too much curve. But yeah, me and Mindful Wasp with Maggi, Cassidy, and Martin, basically all 5 of us for the win. I tried to work with my teammate as much as I could. But again, the gap got up again, 3.3 seconds. With that little battle there, they've lost a little bit of time to the top 2.
The Haas has just smacked into the wall, and he's got a puncher. He's got a right front puncher. That's quite rare to see these days, getting a puncher, because you usually see it with tyre wear, but not due to a collision. And that's cost him hugely in the Haas there, puncturing his front right tyre, and that's definitely a trip as the pits. I feel sorry for him there.
Yeah, it can actually happen. He's obviously hit the wall too hard. He's got some damage on the front wing as well. So that's what he said. He's hit the wall too hard, and obviously it's just the tyres burst because of that. So very.
Glock's just hit the wall, sorry, out of the last corner. I don't know if he's got any damage, but if he hasn't, he's just escaped freely there. But Hazara has slipped through. I think the battle for the lead is on between Ramovaj and Rabbit. Rabbit stays ahead. Rabbit is in P2, sorry. Ramovaj gets ahead. And Hazara has split both McLaren boys. I don't know if Glock's got any damage, but if it is, it's quite minor. As a Haas in the background, unfortunately, is in a predicament that is spray and pray down there P13. And he's struggling with his right front tyres. That's of course why he's going slowly in that corner.
Yeah, he's got no brake. Working on his car, obviously the front brakes are more important than the rear, so with that he's got no brakes at all. Obviously got a puncture as well, so it's gonna feel like excuse me, it's gonna feel like he's sorry. So it's gonna feel like he's on the wet tyres on a dry track. That's what it's gonna feel like for him.
Usually you can escape by tapping the tyres against the wall, but this time you can't because of simulation damage, and due to that slide tap, it has cost him hugely. An RB or a Red Bull. That's Alas Copo who's fallen down the hill. He's spun out of turn 14 into 15, and he's dropped himself into P11. That's an easy mistake to do if you take too much curb on the inside of 15 or hit the wall on the outside. So you can be very careful. Add track limits too, so that's 3 things you've got to watch out for in that particular corner there. But Smoke FX in the background looking very interested in this battle. His highest finish in SFR last season, I think, was P6 or P7, and he's not really been a contention for a podium. But Brabham is coming back on Ramavaj, and these two will swap places there. Nothing Brabham could do on those medium compound tyres to pull away, so he's got to suffer with Ramavaj, and Ramavaj will have the advantage towards the end. The penalty goes towards Norris in P14. Norris pitted a lap ago. We couldn't quite see why, but also Norris out there is struggling in Saudi Arabia. Rogue Smithy's got ahead of Sonic Hawk going down into turn 1, trying to regain those lost places due to that internet connection issue he had, and Norris is fighting with MCFC for 13th place there. So actually, Ramavaj has been dropped from Brabham. If you were talking, I interrupted you there, but that's because you're on mute again, Owen. So I think you keep forgetting to put yourself.
I wasn't talking.
Oh, sorry. But anyways, the Energy Down's got a 10-second time penalty like he was back in Silverstone, and Brabham's pulled away from Ramavaj. So I think Ramavaj must have had a mistake somewhere. I've noticed that into braking zones, he's not fully confident on the brakes because the rear tyres snatch up. We saw it back in the Bahrain Grand Prix. It was only minor and can get away with it, but into the final corner, that's when he fully locked up the rears. And it was a very weird spin because if you saw his video, it looked like the back end of the car just pinched him around and just spun. It wasn't even like the rear brakes locked up. He just lost his rear wing. That's what it looked like from on board with him. But anyways, he's 1.1 seconds away from the DRS. But on those hard compound tyres, be better towards in a few laps' time. You would have thought he could get himself back there easily.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so far he's on a good race. Spray and pray. Looks like he's about to get lapped. Yeah, he's got lapped now from Ramavaj and Brabham. At the moment, Smoke, he's having a good race so far. Obviously, he had a terrible race in Bahrain. Got rear wing damage. But yeah, Smoke having a good race so far in P6, just behind Glock, Hazara, and Laser. So just taking his time at the moment. So yeah, good race so far from Smoke.
In the house last season, him and Yagamel were regular top 10 qualifiers, but in the race trim, they tend to fall out the top 10. But here in Saudi Arabia, a different story now. Challenging for the podium. 4 drivers challenging for the podium as Ramavaj does get himself back in that crucial DRS zone there. So whatever problem he had, he's able to stick with Brabham there in P1. So Brabham will go to the hard compound tyres later on, where Ramavaj will have the mediums towards the end, and it will be even harder for Brabham to try and win this race with Ramavaj having the softer tyre on his car. So let's see then what happens going down into turn 20 and turn 21. Laser under massive pressure from Hazara. Hazara managed to split both McLarens due to Glock's mistake in turn 27, but he's still there in the DRS. Looks like he hasn't lost any pace, thankfully, so no damage sustained to that McLaren car. He's able to continue around, but he has got the Ferrari lurking all over the back of his rear wing. Then we continue on to turn 27, onto lap 9 out of 25 we go. Brabham still leads ahead of Ramavaj as we head down on the main straight with Laser, Hazara, Glock and Smoke. This group of cars, and none of them go for an overtake down into turn 1.
Yeah, like I said, with Ramavaj and Brabham, Ramavaj taking the time on Brabham. Again, like I said, if you battle... Oh no! Laser's out! He's hit the inside of the wall. He's out! Laser gone! Out the race.
Oh my goodness me, I muted myself because I was about to cough, and I didn't cough, thankfully, but unfortunately for Laser, he is out of the race, and that's him gone. A huge mistake after the finish on the podium in Bahrain, now out of this race due to a smash against the wall in turn 4, and that's easy done. I've done it myself by smashing, I haven't smashed into the wall, I clipped it, and it is really costly indeed. Unfortunately, he's out of the Grand Prix then, so that's his first retirement this season in the second race, and he'll be absolutely frustrated with himself. I did catch that on board as well, so thankfully I didn't miss it.
Yeah, that's a very rare mistake from Laser. I rarely see Laser making any mistakes like that, but like I said, something like that, race ending, just like it happened with Mounds, and now it's happened with Laser. He's just turned in too early. Simple as that. He's turned in too early, and he's hit that inside wall. Everyone's done it. Whether that's time trial in a race, in qualifying, or whatever, everyone's done it before.
MDJ saying, I think Ramovaj will win the championship. He has improved a lot. He has improved a lot indeed. I remember him, who was a regular podium challenger in SFR. He was not a full-time driver, but still picked up 8 podiums every time he raced. There is a back marker, I think, in between the Sauber
Yeah.
and the Williams driver. So there was talks about a back marker
Whew.
hindering somebody's race in Division 3. I'm not quite sure how much cost worthy there was that, but that's the Haas, the spray and pray, who's trying to get ahead. But here we go, it's turn 1 now. The battle for the podium is between Hazara, Glock, and Smoke. Smoke and Glock haven't got a podium yet this season. Hazara has in second place there, so they would love to get their names on the board for the podiums, and especially Smoke as well, who hasn't finished on the podium at all in SFR ever since I've commentated. And he's currently 1 second further behind. We know that Laser was in between him as well, but he's dropping further back. But hopefully he can get himself back in this battle for the trio of the top of the third, fourth, and fifth there for the battle. And looks like Ramovaj is getting so close now. Brabham's tyres started to fade away ever so slightly, as those hard compound tyres will be getting much better towards this stage of the race.
Yeah, medium tyres will obviously, well, the hard tyres will be the better racing tyre at this stage of the race now. If Rabbit's doing a medium hard, I'm expecting Rabbit to be in maybe from this lap till about lap 12 now, and Ramovaj come in about lap 15, something like that. So Rabbit will be coming very soon now.
He will do. He got a dose of DRS on the 2 long straights there, so that helped him stay ahead of Ramovaj. But the Haas has pulled away, or backed off, sorry, and here comes Ramovaj. Then he takes the lead of the Grand Prix away from Brabham as we head down towards turn 1. Maybe regretting going on the medium compound tyres, because you only get 1 lap to pull away before the DRS is enabled there. So only 1 lap to try and build up that 1 second gap to try and pull away like Glock did in the opening stages of the Bahrain Grand Prix. But unfortunately for him, it bit him back in the later stages, while everybody else on the fresher tyres, he was struggling on older tyres, and he fell off the podium there. Let his teammate go, because his teammate on Laser tried and catch, I think it was Hazara at the time, to try and get P2 as he had a 3 second time penalty, but Hazara managed to hold on.
Yeah, Rabbit 7 tenths behind Ramovaj now. Ramovaj, I'm expecting him to basically be doing a quali lap basically doing a quali lap. But 8 tenths is a gap, so obviously Rabbit will have the DRS to pull him straight back in. So like I said, DRS is very powerful on this game, especially around here. So like I said, it's very difficult to break that DRS around here. But Rabbit 8 tenths. So like I said, racing tyre at this stage is definitely on those 10 lap old hards compared to 10 lap old mediums. I'm expecting Rabbit, because obviously he's now struggling, to come in around about now. Hazara making a move on Glock already. So Hazara up to P3, but I'm expecting Glock to come back to him.
Yeah, there's a Ferrari in the wall. That's MCFC, who's just lost his end plate, smashing into turn 27. But Hazara, Glock takes the place back immediately. I know these two didn't have great history or chemistry, but look at Hazara. Lock up the rear tyres. As you can see, that MCFC has retired from this Grand Prix. Langfeld is in the pit lane to end his medium stint, as that's 10 laps on those medium compound tyres for him. But yeah, Hazara has been struggling in this F1 23 game. No secret about it. He set the timings alive back at the Bahrain Grand Prix by doing a fast lap. I think it was a 25.6, but the rest of them were in the 26s, and he was the one to beat. But here in Saudi Arabia, a completely different story. He has been struggling every time going forward, and the car just wants to snap away from him, or he keeps locking up the rear tyres. So hasn't really quite figured the dynamics of this game and how to drive this simulation as well. So he's still learning, like the rest of the drivers are. But crucially now, Ramovaj in P1 has pulled the 1 second gap over Brabham, so Brabham's tyres must be fading away, or the Williams is using a bit more battery to try and break that DRS and try and gain as much as he can before Brabham makes his pit stop, as he wants to make the deficit towards the end of the Grand Prix, even smaller. But here we go then, on board with the Aston Martin driver. Smoke is in the rear wing of the Aston Martin as we head down towards turn 27 we go. We don't really see a lot of overtakes going on down here, because you wait for the DRS on the line to open up for
Rabbit
the main straight. Rabbit pits there to end
Rabbit.
his medium stint, and we can see that you can see that smoke is all over the back of Hazara. Then, as we head down towards turn one, is Clock about to be
Three
double
wide.
overtaken? He's going three abreast. Then it's turn one, but smoke backs out of it. Here comes Hazara down the inside, but Clock still holds the inside line there. Bit of argy-bargy between the two, but they make it out unscathed. And now they still continue their battle all the way down towards turn four. And Hazara has the inside line. Clock stays around the outside, goes slightly off the track, and he stays ahead. We saw that with somebody, I think, yesterday, and they picked himself
Yes,
up.
it was between me and my teammate Manful Wasp when Manful Wasp just came out of the pits. I don't know if you remember, but Manful Wasp just came out of the pits. I did the exact same maneuver that Glock's just done now.
I thought it was somebody else. I remember somebody else doing it, and they got themselves a penalty. But yeah, I think he did it too. So it could have been two drivers that did it. I think it was Adams who did it, who went around the outside because he
Might
picked
have
himself
been,
up
yeah.
a early penalty during that race.
Yeah, it might have been. I do remember doing that move as well. So yeah, it might have been two people that did it as well.
So the Rabbits disposed Sonic Hawk very quickly. That's very important for him. Now, him being on the hard compound tyre, and Ramovaj has to pit it. He's got to use this clean air to try and reduce the
clean
deficit
air.
towards the end. Lovely clean air. That's
Yeah.
12, 30-second gap he's got over to smoky P4 essentially now. He hasn't lost too many places. He's still in P5. But here comes Hazara once again attacking and defending. Here comes the
Three
Ferrari
wide
who
again.
closes the DRS as we head down towards turn 27. Hazara takes third away, but it might get swamped down the straight. Smoke is racing cautiously. He doesn't want to make contact, but he's in the pit lane actually. And here comes the McLaren driver who takes back his P2 away. So I think a bit of an early pit stop there for Smoke. Does he want to go for the undercut on these two and try and get well clear?
Yeah, he must be. Obviously, he's stuck in the DRS train. He's stuck right behind them both, so he's going to try and see now what he can do in clean air. Really, see if he can get that undercut done on those two. But like you saw yesterday, Jamie, the undercut for me definitely wasn't as strong as I thought it might have been. So, but yeah, we're just gonna have to see how Smoke gets on now with these important laps now for him.
Yeah, indeed, because I think your teammate came out right behind you, didn't he?
Yeah, he came up right behind me. That's when I made that move into turn 3 around the outside.
Yeah, so the undercut wasn't really powerful as I predicted to be, but Smoke has disposed Rogue Smithy immediately. That's in a unconventional overtaken place there, so I presume that Rogue Smithy made a mistake somewhere. He is a ghosted car, so hopefully he can be solid again. Or he's left the session again. He's joined back, so he was a ghosted car.
Yeah, he was. So Smithy having problems with his internet yet again. I've seen him he commentates sometimes as well, and we sometimes get multiple streams when he's on the host comms. But yeah, Smithy still hasn't unfortunately sorted out his internet problems. He's probably connected to McDonald's internet at the moment, to be fair.
And the race leader is in the pit lane then, so about to see what's going to happen. Where will he rejoin? It should be behind Rabbit, but Sonic Hawk is there too. And Hazara takes the lead of the race ahead of Glock. But how much time in the last 2-3 laps has Rabbit found on Ramovaj? That's the key question, because Ramovaj will be hunting him down towards the end on a better tyre. Harry Kane says, what's happened to Hazara? Nothing, mate. That's his pace. That's genuinely, that's his pace. There's nothing happened to him. He's not made contact. He hasn't spun or anything. That's his genuine pace. And he has been struggling here in Saudi Arabia. He validated his last lap. Clock picks himself up a 3-second
Big
tap.
penalty.
You just saw him at the exit of turn 12.
Yeah, I saw him wiggle.
And MDJ says McDonald's internet is an understatement. Should be airport internet. Nice
well,
quote.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Nice quote there. Wiggle, as you can see Hazara out of turn 14, almost lost the back of the car. Glock's just tapped the wall again for the second time for what I've seen at the exit of turn 14 there. So the pressure might be ramping up for Glock, but he's got to keep it nice and clean. You never know if Hazara picks up a penalty, because I've seen him go out wide a few times, has the Norwegian of Hazara. So Glock has got to keep him under continuous pressure from now towards the end of this race to try and put himself in a level playing field if Hazara picks up a 3-second tap. As Laser is still in this race because he's in the group chat or he's in the voice chat.
As Ramovaj already caught up to Brabbit, and it looks like he can get a move done straight away. Yeah, he is. There you go. Pass he goes. Done. There you go. Sorted. I think Brabbit is going to try and do the same strategy as what Ramovaj did to him earlier on in this race, for lap 2, lap 3. And Ramovaj is just staying behind Brabbit. I think Brabbit is going to do pretty much the same until his tyres start coming into play at the end as Glock and Hazara has smoke comes out of all this now.
So Smoke, who pitted earliest, tried to do the undercut on the two guys ahead of him, which are Glock and Hazara. So ideally he should get ahead, but how much? There we are. Then the Ferrari makes his way into turn 2. Hazara picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's in the pit lane exit. We've seen it in the past where people exceed the white line on the pit lane exit. So Glock and Hazara are now on a level playing field, and Smoke could be the one with the podium, but he's got to make sure he doesn't pick up a 3-second time penalty himself. He's got the advantage so far in terms of no penalties and track position. He does. Oh, Hazara goes really wide there.
Wide again. Yeah.
And Harry Kane is asking what's happened with Laser. So Laser was in this battle for the group at the podium, and unfortunately he crashed in turn 4. He turned in a bit too early and lost his front left tyre. So that's why he's out of this Grand Prix. He was fighting for the podium with his teammate Smoke and Hazara, but contact was made with the wall and unfortunately sent him out of the race. So that's his race ended right there. But Babbitt is staying with Ramovage. That's crucial because I think the tyres will be on the crossover point, and I think they'll be on the same, let's say, same tyre wear, and it should be equal, let's say, towards the end and cancel each other out. So I think Babbitt might be able to be in contention for the race win still.
Yeah, like I said, towards near the end of the race, so I reckon about lap 22-25 is going to be around the 22-23, sorry, is going to be the crossover point between these two, as Rabbit gets the fastest lap and is going to get the overtake done on Ramovage. Ramovage not really fighting, he doesn't want to lose too much time. Oh, actually, no, he is going to fight. He's going to try and go around the outside of Brabbit, and better exit. Gets the move done. Well, good defending there from Ramovage. 4.8 seconds is the gap now between these two. Sonic Hawk in P3, obviously not stopped yet. 16 lap old hard tyres, and he is struggling as I expected on his hard tyres now.
So, whilst we watched the top two scrap away, something happened to third, fourth, and fifth. So fourth, fifth, and sixth, because Sonic Hawk is in P3, hasn't pitted yet. But crucially, Hazara's got himself out of the DRS race, but Glock is pushing immediately. So I think Smoke got smoked by the two drivers ahead of him, double overtaking the straight, but Glock and Smoke were side by side, and ultimately them being side by side, I think Hazara got through easily with DRS, but Glock had to make the move side by side into turn 2, and therefore lost a lot of time towards Hazara, who's all over the back of Sonic Hawk, and now he's through ahead of Sonic Hawk. Glock has to do the same thing on Sonic Hawk if he wants to stay in this battle for the podium.
Yeah, you want to get past Sonic Hawk as quickly as possible. Obviously, traffic. I got traffic when I stopped. 3 cars ahead of me. They all pasted at the same time, but obviously Sonic Hawk being the traffic, being the annoying person in a way at the moment. But obviously Sonic Hawk will not care. This is his race. He doesn't care if he's upsetting these guys or not. So Glock going to go around down the inside of Sonic Hawk. Sonic Hawk pretty much letting him pass, and now Smoke is now right behind him. But looks like Sonic is coming in because the pits now, so he might be going on SOS to be fair. He could probably go to the SOS to the end on those tyres now. Should it be too bad? Is there contact? No, there isn't. Glock was so late to the brakes, he almost took Hazara out, so that was very crucial there for Hazara and Glock's race there. Glock could have got airplane damage, and Hazara could have been spun around, which could have been an easy shot for a podium for Smoke in P5. So Smoke... Oh, sorry, I didn't know why I said that weirdly, but Smoke is back in DRS range with these two now, so all three of them are back together as they got split up. Oh, Hazara, was that lag? I just saw an Aston Martin in the wall. That's not my eyes deceiving me. Please, somebody tell me they saw that. Rewind a few seconds ago if you saw that on stream. But it was lag, and I thought he hit the wall. That was lag. Yeah, I was on board with Glock, and it was lag. It looked like it just went really wide, but he just glitched back onto the racing line, so yeah, it was lag there from Hazara.
That scared me as well. Lag has cost Hazara in the past. Remember the Brazilian Grand Prix? It was a sprint weekend, or sprint race, sorry. And for some reason, every time I had a sprint event, Hazara lagged in the feature race, not in the sprint. And that's been the case every time. But it's not a sprint race here in Jeddah. And it cost him because somebody spun him at the Brazilian Grand Prix under the safety car. He was going to win it, but got spun. It wasn't either driver's fault because they desynced into each other, and Hazara was still a solid car on his screen, where on the other screen he wasn't a solid car, he was a ghosted car, and they glitched into each other, so that's why they spun. But the battle for P1 still continues. Ramovage sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix ahead of Babbitt. Babbitt is still sticking to DRS. That's crucial for the end of this race because his tyres might be slightly better than the mediums. But here comes Glock once again, puts the move up the inside, and once again puts himself back into P3. This podium battle is going to be so interesting, but it might not be these two on the podium, considering the third and fourth. It could be Smoke. Smoke has got to make sure he is extra cautious with the track limits. Do you know what? If I was him, I'd sit in P5 and just try and take it cautiously. Try and stick in the DRS range
Oh.
of these two and not fight too hard.
So I've just had a look at Smoke's race director. He's on 2 warnings at the moment. So one more, he's going to get himself a penalty as well. So he's got to be extra cautious at this stage. He knows that the 2 guys ahead of him is on a 3-second time penalty. All Smoke needs to do is just keep with these guys, make sure he's in 1 second with these 2, and he'll be all right.
Indeed, so try and stick in the DRS as Hazara has a bit of a moment coming out of turn 14 there, flirting with the barriers on the outside. But who is going to win the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix between Rabbit and Ramavaj? I thought Ramavaj would have it in the bag easily on those better tyres, but Rabbit is still in contention. His tyres could be slightly better towards the end of the race in comparison to the man in P1. So watch out for the battle for P1 with Rabbit and Ramavaj. Rabbit hasn't won a race before in SFR. He's a rookie this season. Ramavaj has only won 1 last season and picked up 8 podiums then. It's been a long time since he's won. He last won at the Hungarian Grand Prix when he defended against Laser and MDJ. Laser is in the chat saying, binned it, lol. And we saw that, Laser, don't you worry, mate. He said he clipped the inside of turn 4. It's turn 4, not turn 3. Turn 4 is further up ahead. This is turn 3 here where Glock is going through right now. That's slight kink. But Glock there tapped the wall on the entry towards turn 3. And we saw Max Verstappen getting ever so close on his pole lap, or his potential pole lap, I must be said, before he hit the wall in turn 27, because he was absolutely pushing and he almost hit the barriers in turn 3 and in turn 13. That's how much he was pushing on that day to try and get a pole, because Mercedes in the second half of the season, admittedly with a better car, but Verstappen had to really push in that Red Bull to try and take it away from Mercedes.
Yep, there's very further down, battle for P7 between Rose Smithy and Sonic Hawk. Some movement just happened there between them 2 and Atlas Copo and... Oh, Danis was coming, I thought there was a battle there, but Sonic Hawk and Rose Smithy. I think Rose Smithy's just got back ahead of him. Smithy has now sorted his internet out, so he can crack on with his race. Hopefully no more internet connections for him. Internet errors for him, sorry.
Yeah, I think me and you are ill. I can hear you coughing too, and I'm coughing as well. So yeah, we were quite ill. But here comes Babbitt once again, the German on the Brit, as we head down towards turn 27. And does he make the move to take a slight lock up? But that doesn't matter. And he's back up into P1. And Hazara and Glock are going at it into turn 27. Hazara with the DRS open, but Ramavaj immediately responds with the DRS on Babbitt. I want to keep an eye on all 5 of these drivers, because anything could happen. Because once I spectated these 2 a few laps ago, something majorly happened, which could have been a crucial moment during the race and the outcome of the race too, when they were split up. But they're back together again, P3, 4 and 5. But like we said earlier on, Smoke, he can't afford to pick up a 3-second time penalty. There's no point fighting these 2. You know these 2 are going to fight quite hard with you and try and keep you behind as well. Yeah. So you need to stay in P5, just run your own race and focus on the track limits. Don't focus on the battle in front, but of course stay in the DRS.
Yeah, and again, he's also on the older tyres as well. So like I said, he just needs to make sure he's in the DRS with these 2. He'll be all right.
It should be, but you never know if he could pick up a 3-second time penalty. I've been in situations where people have picked up penalties in front of me. I thought, yes, it's an easy P4 podium or whatever. Then I pick one up myself, which is really upsetting, because sometimes you think you've got it and you make that one mistake, and that one mistake you kick yourself because you know that you could have got there.
Yeah, I've had it before. The season 8, we're kicking it back 8 seasons ago. That was Monaco. It was about to be 1-2 with my teammate, and I picked up that 3-second penalty on the final lap of the race. So it was not great.
It's a horrible feeling when you're in that situation, knowing that you had it all and you lost it by one silly little error. But here we go then with the kick Sauber and the Williams. Nico Hulkenberg will be joining Sauber next year. We've got a German driver here. Energy down, picks up a 3-second time penalty. The German back on the Williams. They make contact going down there into turn 1. Ramavaj moved right on his screen, going side by side now. Ramavaj trying to stick it on the outside. They still remain side by side with Ramavaj trying to keep up the inside into turn 4. They don't really have to fight too hard at this stage, because they've still got some racing laps left to go. Ideally, you want to be fighting on lap 24 or 25, but it was elbows out between the 2. And Ramavaj was not willing to give up on that occasion.
Yeah, but like I said, when Ramavaj pitted, this is round about the crossover point between the tyres between these 2 now. So Brabbitt will starting to put Ramovaj under a little bit more pressure at this stage of the race. Obviously, we've only got another 3 laps to go. This race has gone really quick, to be fair. But yeah, 3 laps to go in this race.
And also, Hazara had a bit of a moment out of sector 1. He lost the DRS momentarily, and he had smoke all over the back of him. But now he's brought himself back in contention. Maybe he used a bit of battery to try and bring himself back into play. And he's right there once again. Is in the DRS is the Norwegian driver. It was the highest reserve driver last season to pick up as many wins as he could. We saw some great battles on the last lap as well back in Bahrain between Harry Kane and himself, fighting for the win. Harry Kane almost lost it going down into turn 12 on the inside, but here comes Ramovaj and Brabit once again. Brabit goes around the outside and he takes P1 away from Ramovaj. Now, in Div 3, there are some back markers ahead of us. There were complaints about a Sauber driver giving DRS towards the lead or something. But here we go, Energy Dad's retired in the pit lane, and there's no back markers until the Mercedes on Norris, who started a dismal race, by the way. And you can see Ramovaj back in the lead. But here comes Glock, and here comes Azara once again going down into turn 1 they go. These two are wishing that Smoke picked up a 3-second time penalty. They don't know. Oh, Hazara's backing off. He's backed off. What's going on here? He's let him go. Oh, it's a yellow flag. That's why. There's a yellow flag down that straight. Yeah, he's had to let him go.
Yeah, yellow flag there. So we'd had. Oh, Glock nearly did exactly the same as what Laser did. Nearly went into that inside wall. Just got away with that. But yeah, yellow flag there, which caused Hazara to back off there. But like you said, it'd be annoying for these two because Smoke is right behind him. But it's just up to Smoke, really. If Smoke makes a little error, that's race over. Smithy is out. It'd be too late for a safety car. He's done exactly the same as what Laser did earlier on this race.
Alright, so I just went off board with Hazara, and when I went off board, that moment he oversteered. Not quite sure if he hit the wall or not. I'm on board with Atlas Copa to see where he crashed, and probably a turn 3 like you said. But Hazara, whatever he did, when I went off board with him, he survived once again, and he might have tapped the wall in the exit of turn number 13 or 14. But we're heading on to the penultimate lap of this race. It's getting spicy between the top two, between Ramovaj and Brabit. It's getting spicy for the podium between Glock, Hazara and Smoke. These two are desperately wishing that Smoke picked himself up a 3-second time penalty so they can be on a level playing field and have a straight fight towards the podium. It's not been an easy journey for these guys, and you can see that Brabit is not going for a move down into turn 1, so he's just probably waiting for the final lap of this race. And here comes Glock and Hazara once again, and Glock defends from the Norwegian right behind. There's a Mercedes ahead of us, so might give Glock a bit of DRS if he gets close enough towards the middle and last sector. But these are the crucial moments during this race, because you want to be second if you can help it on the last lap. You're in the worst place in first place on the last lap, unless you can pull a big gap like Ramovaj is doing right now by 7/10, probably using a bit of bash to pull away in that first sector by helping on the medium compound tyres, of course. But if you can stay in DRS on the last lap, you got 3 DRS zones and a big chance to overtake going down into turn 27, or get a decent exit out of turn 27 and try and out-drag him on the straight. So Ramovaj is in a vulnerable position in P1 on the last lap if Brabit doesn't overtake here.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Ramovaj and Brabit's warning. Ramovaj only 1 warning, Brabit 0 warnings. So with penalty-wise with these two, this should be all right. So Brabit can actually afford to take a track limit warning for the final lap to try and get an advantage on Ramovaj here. But here comes Brabit again on Ramovaj, and expecting again down towards turn 1. Most important lap now, the final lap. Who's going to get this race win?
And we'll see then, will Brabit go for its turn 1? Is it now or is it later in this race? We're about to find out right now. Brabit is forced on the inside and he decides to take the lead. But no, swooping around the outside on the brakes is Ramovaj. The confidence he had on the brakes to do that in turn 1 was incredible. Cassidy did it on 2 drivers when he was fighting side by side with those two. And he went around the outside in turn 1 to reclaim the lead of the race too. But yeah, the confidence some of these drivers have on the brakes to try and stick around the outside without losing the rear end. But now, once again, Ramovaj finds himself in a vulnerable position. Should he let Brabit go into turn 1 so he can have the DRS for himself and set himself up going into the final 2 sectors?
Well, I think he knows that at this stage the race hard is now the better tyre. Brabit nearly loses the back end there, just like I did in my race. But he saves it better than I did. But yeah, just going to have to see now what happens. This is where the most important time now is on this DRS straight now.
Babbitt assisted with the DRS, getting closer and closer. He can set himself up into turn 20 and turn 21. He's all over the back of that Williams driver. So the move is coming for Babbitt, but anything could happen going down into turn 27. If Babbitt goes up the inside, Ramovac might get DRS on the line and try and get him back. But here comes Babbitt, then he takes the lead of the race. But Ramovac, he goes down the inside. Babbitt's moving slightly on the brake in there to make contact going into the final corner. More contact. Who will get to better exit? More contact. He's in the wall, and Ramovac just stays ahead. But the DRS is unable. Can Babbitt get him back? It's going to be so close. He doesn't. It's only 8 thousandths between the two. That contact down his turn 27 cost him hugely there. Hazara sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix. The final podium goes towards Smoke. But what a final lap that was between the two. Bargy. None of them willing to yield. They know the victory is on the cards. Trying to get the first victory of the season. Babbitt 8 thousandths behind. He'll be absolutely disappointed. They had it all set up for him in terms of placing his car in second place, trying to get DRS to the back of Ramovac, but Ramovac just defended. I'm not quite sure who's to blame there. We'll leave it down to the stewards to decide who's on fault with that one. You can see Babbitt did move slightly in the braking, Ramovac did push him out wide, so I think it equals each other out slightly there.
Yeah, they might go down to the stewards, it might not, but that was close between those two. 8 thousandths of a second between those two, as I'm going to get these three into the podium interviews for you as well, Jamie.
Thank you, Owen. Appreciate that, mate.
And party invitations sent.
Already? That was quick. How did you do that so quick?
I did it as soon as they crossed the line, really. So.
Oh, fair enough. Wow, what excitement we had on the final corner in turn 27. Saudi Arabia, no matter how many drivers you have, it never disappoints. It disappoints in F1 recently, but we all know because of the modern F1 cars, it's quite difficult to follow each other and overtake with the DRS not really being as powerful or stuck in that DRS train. But in F1 league racing, it's always producing something astonishing, and we saw it heading down into the final corner. I don't know if Babbitt's got on mic. I've known him for 4 or 5 years, but I don't know if he's got a mic or not. So let's see if he does join. He might be a disgruntled German driver in the chat. We'll see. But he is quite calm. He's quite collected. He's not one to really argue in the chats. He might be a bit frustrated right now, which is understandable, of course. But let's hope he joins the chat. And if he does, we can get a few words from him. But it's the Hungarian of Ramovac who wins by 8 thousandths of a second. His heart must have been racing on the line. Babbitt getting ever so close with the DRS and the battery, and also having more straight line speed due to the lack of end plate. And Smoke kept it clean and finished in P3, no penalties, and well deserved as well. He stayed in the battle for P3. He was last in this DRS train, but ultimately you got to make sure that you don't make any mistakes or pick up penalties to ensure that you get higher up in the standings. Langfell, it was a very lonely race for Langfell. Barely mentioned him. He finished in a lonely P6 ahead of Sonic Hawk. Atlas Copo, decent racing for him in P8 there. He finished in P5, I believe, in Div 2, so not too bad there from the former Div 1 driver himself in the AlphaTauri last season. But we have got Ramovac in the chat, in the podium interviews. I don't know if Smoke is going to join. I haven't heard him spoke, and also Babbitt as well. But we'll see then. Babbitt, if you want to talk to me on the Discord server, I'll read your thoughts out. I will do. Make sure you don't swear them now. But Smoke has joined them, so we'll start from P3 upwards. And Smoke, mate, what a fantastic race from you. And you managed to get yourself in the DRS train. You saw Laser fall out of contention due to that crash, and you saw the two of you ahead pick up a 3-second penalty. You must have been very nervous though, because you had 2 warnings to your name. So I bet your main goal was not pick up any warnings at all. We saw you before those two pick up a 3-second penalty. We saw you almost going 3 abreast on the main straight, but you backed off it. Were you thinking better of the car because you know simulation damage on? Are you more cautious now with the simulation damage on?
Yeah, that's probably a contributing factor. One of the other factors was a Cesara. His internet kept like dropping in and out, so his car kept moving about, so it wasn't where I thought it was going to be. So a couple of times his car was sideways in turn one, and I didn't know where he actually was. So I thought, again, sim damage, don't know where he is. I'm not going to chance anything because if them two come together, I pick up the pieces. If I stay there too long, chances are I'll get collected into a wall, taking one, if not all of us out.
And also, it was your first podium of the season. Last season, you finished, I think, P6 was your highest, but second race of the season in season 16. First podium. How does that feel for you, mate? You must be very happy right now.
I'm pleased about the podium, yeah. I kind of think it's a flash in the pan one. Jeddah, it seems to be a circuit that suits my driving style. Um, Whether or not I can keep this up, I have no idea. I'm very doubtful, but we'll see how it goes.
I hope you do, because I remember saying to you and your team at Yagamal at the time last season that you were both a regular top 10 qualifier, but you tend to drop off the race pace. And do you feel like you got better race pace now on this game? Is it starting to help you more?
No.
Well,
No, I
fair
just
enough, mate.
got fortunate on this one, I think.
I wouldn't say fortunate because you did pick up any penalties, and that's very hard to do outside Arabia. So, yeah, you definitely deserve it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, mate. And it's your first race of the season too, isn't it? Because you didn't race in Bahrain.
I did race in Bahrain. It's the first race I finished. I retired about 8 laps from the end because I just wasn't having any good time with it.
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry. But what a comeback drive from retiring in Bahrain to finishing P3. I've actually got the standings up from last week, no, 2 weeks ago, and because your name is not highlighted in the rest of them all, that's why I didn't see your name. So sorry about that.
No, you're right.
But
It's just a
Owen, you got any
forgettable
questions?
race for me.
Yeah, true. But not forgettable here in Saudi Arabia. Owen, you got any questions for Smoke?
Hello, mate. How you doing? Um, confident for Hungary? What are you expecting from Hungary?
Uh, a wall somewhere.
Does it suit your driving style more? Well, or less?
I have no idea. Haven't turned a wheel around that track on this game yet, so your guess is as good as mine.
To see how you get on, basically.
Yeah, I'm going pretty much blind because I won't
Yeah.
practice until the weekend now.
Well, good luck
Well,
to you in Hungary.
Thank you.
We move on to the man in second place. Might not be as happy as Smoke in P3, but Rabbit, it's nice to talk to you the first time in 5 years on the mic, and it's your second race here in SFR. You really stepped up because I remember you racing last season and you were struggling to get inside the top 10. Well, you were in the top 10, but 9th and 10th was your main spot. I'm not talking about SFR, I'm talking about it differently, but you really stepped up this game with the pace you've had in here in Saudi Arabia. But I take it the game plan towards the end of this stint was try and stick with Ramavaj DRS and overtake him down his turn 27, which he did, but unfortunately ended in contact. What explain to us what happened down there in what happened, sorry, down there in turn 27, because we saw you move slightly under braking in turn 27 to block off Ramiraj's attack, and Ramiraj went deep. So, is it just one of those things on the last lap where in the final corner it will get very heated up? But as long as you didn't retire, that's okay because you still scored some big points. Well, you're more calm than I ever would have been because I would have been so angry in that situation, finishing in P2 when I known I could have win. So, yeah, thank you for a calm approach to this interview, Babbitt. And second place is still good though because back in Bahrain, didn't you start the soft power tyres early on in the race? Yeah, well, there's always a learning curve. It's still early in the season, so there's still plenty of races left to go to make amends later on in this race. But I think you'll definitely be up there for the win and more podiums, so you'll be an interesting one to watch as well. How do you feel on this game? Do you feel more comfortable on this game than 23, or is it just the same? Are you happy that I brought you into this league? Well, I'm happy you're here, mate. It's a shame I'm not racing you again because I've quit league racing now, unfortunately. I might be back in the other league for like 1 or 2 races, but altogether I don't enjoy it no more. So you might not be racing with me for a long time, Rabbit. Yeah, I miss you too, mate. And how do you feel for the Hungarian Grand Prix next week, mate? We will see indeed then. So congratulations on P2 today, mate. It's still a good result after what happened, but don't let it beat you up. He's still got some good decent points, and there's still plenty of races left to go through the season as well. So still plenty of opportunities out there to take. And thank you, mate. And Owen, you got any questions for Rabbit?
No, carry on, mate. Hello, carry on. All good here.
So we'll leave it there then for Brabant. Congratulations on P2 once again, and we move on to the race winner then. So Ramavaj, on that last lap, got a bit sketchy between you and Brabant, but looks like your colleague is taking it really well in P2 as well. So what explains to us what happened on that final lap between you and the Sauber driver?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I tried to keep it, to the left side of the track, up close to the barrier to not allow the inside. And then, yeah, Brabit went really, really late on the brakes. I mean, my tires were just not capable, but I tried to, do it, maybe go up the inside. And then when we were at the apex, I lost the back end a bit, so we dodged wheels. I think it was minor, it wasn't too bad, and then we both lost traction on the exit of turn 27, and then it was just a drag race. So yeah, I think it was hard, but on the limit, but fair racing throughout, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm really happy with it. So I obviously understand that I would be frustrated with P2, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, great respect from you and Brabant there, P2, approaching it really nicely and calmly, because I know I would have been very angry myself and calling you out if that was me in that situation. But yeah, overall the race was pretty good. But were you expecting Brabant to be quick on the second stint on them hardcore power tyres? Did you expect to pull away from him once you made your way out of the pit stop?
Yes, I was expecting to pull away, but then I quickly realized that the reason I was able to keep up with him in the first stint is because the mediums were just terrible, I think, for the race. So I was able to keep up with him fairly easily on the hards when he was on the mediums, and then I thought maybe, you know, I had the race pace on him, but then I really quickly realized that I think the hards were just a better race tire overall. So yeah, from then on I was like a bit worried that he's going to get me. I tried to get a 1 second gap in the first sector a lot of times, but I couldn't get it. And even when I could, he got back in because I used all my URS. So yeah, it was really hard.
And also your first victory of the season too, and you scored. It says on this graphic, Ramovage, that you scored 1 win, but I remember you scoring 2. It was at the Hungarian Grand Prix last season and also Bahrain. I remember you winning because MDJ and Glock came to blows. So
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
There was no penalty after that, so I finished second in Bahrain. I won in Hungary last season.
I thought you won in Bahrain too because you slipped through now. Or did you overtake one of them?
No, I only overtook MDJ. I think Glock got me.
Oh yeah, I remember now. I thought you won in Bahrain for some reason. I was probably anticipating a penalty coming. That's why I thought you won the race. But yeah. You won the Hungarian Grand Prix last season as well, and that was your only win of the season too. But your first win in 2 races. Do you think that your pace has improved quite a lot? And if so, do you think you're now going to be a challenger for the Drivers' Championship? Because we know Harry Kane and his competitors are on holiday for a few weeks. We know that Hazara is struggling on this game, but you never know on the next race he could be back up there. So, do you think you could be challenging for the championship this season?
I'm planning on challenging, yeah, but you know I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just want to race. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's just, you know, taking one race at a time for now. But yeah, I really hope I can challenge. I feel a lot more comfortable on this game than on the previous one. Still, I have some issues with rear locking, which I have to look at. But because that's what caused my spin in Bahrain as well, rear locking, and I had a moment actually in turn 27 this race as well, where I nearly lost it. I went into the actually went off track to correct that, so I have to look at that. But apart from that, I think yeah, pace is more naturally better, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So yeah, that's it basically.
And the next week, that spin in Bahrain was quite weird because on your point of view, the car just pendulum around, and that was just a very weird spin. Was it because the brake biased, or I don't know what it was, because that was a very weird spin from braking and
No.
spinning straight away.
I don't think it was brake bias. It was, I don't know. I really don't have the answer for it, but if you remember, it was like 2 seasons ago where I had kind of the same spin in Belgium, in the bus stop chicane when I was leading.
I think I remember that.
I had a half spin, and maybe it's just my driving style that I don't know. Maybe, you know, too much downshifts. I need to look at it because, you know, it's starting to become a problem now. So,
sorry about that.
yeah, no worries.
Next week is the Hungarian Grand Prix, and that's the race you won last season against MDJ and Laser. What's your expectations next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix?
Well, it's my home Grand Prix, so yeah, I really want to, you know, do good. Hungary. I really like the track. It's actually very close to me here in real life. It's like 30 kilometers away from me, the track, so I go past it quite a lot of times. So it's really good, you know. I enjoy it. So I hope to, you know, to win it again. That's the plan.
Yeah, I hope so as well, because it was a great victory last season when you got hunted down by MDJ and Laser. And on the stream, by the way, Vaj, when you were fighting with Brabit, I accidentally said the German versus the Brit, so just ignore the Brit part there. I knew you were Hungarian.
What did you say?
I called out a battle between you and Brabit. I said, here comes the Williams driver, the Brit driver in the Williams, or something like that. So apologies about that one.
No worries about that.
But yeah, congratulations on the win today, mate, and good luck for the Hungarian Grand Prix next week, and also enjoy the Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend. Who do you think is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix on Sunday?
Well, I'm a Hamilton fan, so I'm hoping for Hamilton, but yeah, I think it's more like a McLaren Red Bull battle. Actually, Norris got a new helmet made by the guys who made the trophy last season, which he broke on the podium. So they made a special helmet for him. So I'm actually rooting for Lando this weekend to win the Hungarian Grand Prix in that helmet.
Well, thank you very much, mate. I know you got any questions for Ramavaj? I always struggle saying your name for some reason. It's not even hard to say.
It's alright, mate. We'll get used. Question. So Division 3 and Division 2, they run like the reduced damage module compared to Division 1 where they run the simulation damage.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on running the simulation damage compared to the other two divisions? Because obviously we've had mixed opinions on Division 1 running simulation damage. So what's your opinion on it?
Well, I think if it's an extra challenge for us in Division 1, and I'm quite up for it. I like challenges. I actually run no assists and many things, so I really like it that way, and I think it's challenging, and it forces you to concentrate even more and focus on your driving, try to avoid curbs. I touched the wall after the start. I think it was turn 4, and I had a 6% tire wear because of that on the front left. So yeah, you really just have to be a lot more careful. So I like it.
Yeah, good race there today, Ramavaj. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for the stream as well.
You're welcome anytime. So that's the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix done for Div 3, Div 2 and Div 1. We move back to the European season, and we'll see you all for the Hungarian Grand Prix next week. And Oliver, sorry, Owen, thank you so much for commentating alongside me once again. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no worries, mate. It's been a good week of racing again. Like you said, Jamie, we'll see you all next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Take care and enjoy the Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend too. We'll see if the Red Bull, Mercedes or McLaren come out on top. I highly doubt it'll be a Ferrari, judging by the performance in the last few races. We'll see you all. Take care and goodbye.